It's the LinkedIn for the Win podcast, and today we'll be talking about staying positive during a job search. It's winning time. Let's go. Welcome to the LinkedIn for the Win podcast. Brett Scott at your service. So this week I chose to talk about a subject that really popped up on me. And I saw it mentioned on LinkedIn. I've dealt with it in the past and in past job searches. And I just wanted to share what I did to pull myself out of it and to really shed some light on this subject, because I think it's really not talked about as much as it should be. And it's really just staying positive during your job search. It's a stressful time, right? And it can be different stressors. Obviously, if you have a job and you're looking, you have some reasons why you want to leave the current job. If you're not working, that's a whole different set of issues and stressors. So I just wanted to let you know, if you feel like I did this week, you're not alone. You're just not. We all have bills. We have family. We have kids, car notes, mortgages, all these things to take care of, right? And we just have to do our best, whatever that is, with our situation. But you know what? Feeling bad doesn't help. It doesn't help you deal with the situation at hand. Okay? It doesn't make it go away. And it doesn't do anything but make the situation worse. People can feel your energy, right? It's like when your family knows when you're down, whether it's the way that you're walking, the way that you're talking, the way that you look, your disposition, how you're standing, the way you're moving. And it's totally natural. And in some cases, it'd be weird if you didn't feel these negative feelings or have these negative thoughts or these negative experiences, with some of these negative experiences. And it's all about your perception. But I'm really big on people's energy, and people can sense your energy like your family can. So don't think that when you're in interviews with managers or recruiters that they can't sense it over the phone, because they can, consciously or unconsciously or subconsciously, whatever the word is. They can still feel it, and it can affect how they feel about you in your interview and whether you're a fit for the company. And what I mean by that is a cultural fit. So there are some companies out here now that, based upon their personal philosophy, based upon their corporate philosophy, they're recruiting more for cultural fit than they are based on the experience or the skill set that you have. So they could just be recruiting just for the organization and not even for a specific role. So they feel like, well, we can fit them into a role. We can teach them. They're smart. We can train them. They have some of these skills, and maybe we just need to add a few more to have them fit into this role, but they're a really good fit culturally. Cultural fit is very important. So it can be just as important as your skill set, depending on the company that you're interviewing for or with. When I was in radio, and I was in radio for, off and on for 15 years, and my last role, I worked there for 9 years in Radio 1, we were told to smile a lot of times. Make sure that you're smiling, because the listeners can hear that over the airwaves. True story. If you don't believe it, go to a mirror. Say something with no expression. Say the same thing with a smile on your face. Close your eyes if you have to, and tell me you don't hear a difference. It's one of the reasons why I started the podcast, actually, was because when you feel like you're doing everything that you can in your job search and you're still not getting what you want out of it, you're not getting interviews, you're not getting offers, and you feel like you're at your wit's end, it always brings hope to know there's some other strategies or some other tools that you can employ to help you obtain your goal. And I know when I started learning about different things that I could do, as I learned how to search from a job and kind of transition from the old way of looking for a job, from just applying to a position, waiting for somebody to call me, maybe make a couple calls to some managers, to actually using LinkedIn and reaching out to people there. How can I be found in searches, et cetera, et cetera? It gave me a brand new it kind of rejuvenated me, because I'm like, oh, I got these things to do and these are really going to help me. These make a lot of sense. And so this is a big part of why I started this podcast, is to give people a sense of hope and a sense of positivity. Okay, so the next thing is, how do we change these negative thoughts into something positive? So when you think about it, negative thoughts come in naturally, and we have to be mindful and aware to purposely change them into something positive. So the good thing is that once you're aware, you will automatically challenge those negative thoughts and make them positive. Just like you can think negative now by default, you will begin to think positively by default. And this is what I did. So I'm not a psychologist or anything like that. I'm not an expert on, thinking positive. However, I do have my own personal experience, and I'm going to talk to you about some things that worked for me to help me through this negative time. And you know what I do when I'm negative? I let it go for a day, because sometimes you just need a day. You just need a minute, to just be sad or disappointed or whatever, but then you got to bounce back. You can't stay there. Give yourself a day, and then let's bounce back. Let's get up out of there. Okay. Now, one of the first things that I did, and a lot of people struggle with this, is focus on what I do have and not what I don't have. So we tend to think about other people and do what Eric Thomas, E.T., who's a motivational speaker, he talks about scoreboard watching. Scoreboard watching is one of the worst things that you can do, because you're never going to win that battle. You're always going to look at somebody who has more than you do. And you could never feel good about that. So it's really about focusing on, you have a great family, you have a great wife, you have a nice house, you have a nice place to live. Maybe you don't have the car that you want, but you have a car. You can get from A to B. You can get to your interviews. You can get to work. You can Uber. Maybe that's not what you want to do, but that's something that you can do. Or you can do Uber Eats. Whatever it is, focus on what you do have and be thankful. So sometimes I just think about things that I'm thankful for, and sometimes I write them down so I can tangibly see them. And it's virtually impossible to be thankful and grateful and be negative at the same time. So it really takes those feelings out of your mind. Also, I've done something nice or thoughtful for somebody else. So giving or volunteering or just doing somebody a favor without them asking, or, some way to put a smile on somebody's face. You know what I mean? Buying lunch, whatever it is, do something nice for myself also. This one I struggle with. I can't lie. I remember one day I was feeling down for whatever reason. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do something nice for myself. I went and got some Krispy Kreme donuts and a coffee or something. It was awesome. And I felt so much better after that. I don't even know why, but I just felt so good. And one thing I will say is good food, a good meal, that also makes me feel better. Sometimes if I'm having a bad day and I just have some really good savory food, steak or whatever it is, if I don't know, everybody doesn't eat steak these days. Everybody's vegan and vegetarian, but I still eat steak. You know what I mean? Sometimes a steak, man, you just need a steak or something, on a grill, man. Anyway, so I do something nice for myself, and then also I celebrate my wins. Celebrating wins can be crucial, because you can celebrate small wins. Maybe you got an interview. Maybe you had a good interview. Maybe you got a second interview. Maybe it's just the fact that you're able to reach out to somebody. You got an informational interview and you're building some rapport, or you're taking steps towards your goal and you just want to celebrate along the way. Just make yourself feel good. Keeps you out of that negative space. Now, I don't know about you, but when I can't figure out how to do something, or maybe I don't know how to do it, I'm the first guy that will go to Google or go to YouTube. I don't know how to fix toilets, but Google and YouTube do. So I'll go to YouTube and look up fixing a toilet or my dishwasher or whatever it is. and I will look at that video and follow it to the T and get it in. You know what I mean? So I did the same thing with thinking positively, and I actually came across a video by a guy named Brendan Burchard, and it was awesome. And I really recommend this video, and I'll post it so I can share it with you guys. But it's a video called Reprogram Your Mind, or How to Reprogram Your Mind for Positive Thinking. One of the tricks that I took from his video that really worked for me was I took 3 words that I wanted to be. So aspirational. So for instance, positive, mindful, and thoughtful. I put those in my phone as an alarm and have them go off 3 times a day. So once in the morning, once at lunchtime, and then once in the evening. I really focused in on them at least for a minute, just so I could stay on track for what I wanted to be and who I wanted to be and what I wanted to improve on myself personally. And so that really helped me remember to think about my thoughts, be mindful about what I'm thinking about, and if it's negative, finding the positive out of the situation. And actually now I find myself, as I said earlier, you program your mind to think a certain way, you don't have to work on it anymore. And so once I have my bad day, I'm coming out of it because I'm already starting to think positive things. And when somebody tells me something negative, my brain automatically looks for the positive in that situation. If I can do it, I mean, goodness gracious, you can do it. So it's just about having tools. Go on YouTube. If you're a reader, go on Google. Find some articles. There are some great articles out there about being positive, especially during your job search and in life. By all means, find what works for you. All those things may not work for you, but there's something out there that will. Find it and use those tools. And if you know anything about the law of attraction, whatever you put out, you get back. So you put out positive energy, you put out, you do some positive things, you do some things that make people happy. Those things are going to come back to you. We can all use some additional positivity in our lives. You can never have too much, right? So keep those in mind as some steps that may help you, but go out there and find your own. There's plenty of videos out there from some people that are motivational speakers who are trained in what brains do and have some knowledge about what works. And those are what's worked for me. Again, they may not work for you. Hopefully they will. So go out there, find your positive pill that will help you in your life and your job search. This has been the LinkedIn for the Win podcast. Thanks for checking in with me. Celebrate your wins and keep on winning.